The Elf Who Grew. Once upon a time there was a little elf called Meadowlark, and he wanted to grow. He never grew any bigger, and he hardly reached to the knees of his friend Scrumpy, a big fat pixie who lived next door to him in Elphinstone. Every day he wished to grow bigger, but nothing had ever worked. It made him very sad. One fine summer's afternoon he met Witchy Twitchy on the road, and being a polite little elf, he said hello. She seemed to be in a good mood for once, sitting on a milestone in the sunshine, humming to herself. Suddenly Meadowlark had an idea. It was not a very good one, but he wasn't clever like his friend Scrumpy, so he plucked up courage and blurted out, "Witchy Twitchy, can you help me? I'm so small, can you make me a spell so that I can be bigger?" "Hee," laughed Witchy Twitchy slyly. "Yes, you are rather on the small side," and she poked him with a bony finger. Still Meadowlark didn't remember that Witchy Twitchy's sense of humour was not very kind. She muttered some very magic words, and suddenly Meadowlark had a very strange feeling. He was growing. "Hooray!" he shouted as he grew and grew. He soared up towards the blue sky, up and up. But then he didn't feel so happy any more. His head broke through the clouds, and he felt very, very big. "Help!" he shouted. "Witchy Twitchy, I'm much too tall." The witch was almost bent double with laughing. "Cough, cough," she wheezed. "I haven't had such a good laugh for ages. What a joke!" Meadowlark tried to walk, but somehow there was nowhere big enough to put his feet. Just then Scrumpy came along. At first he was frightened by the giant, but when he saw it was Meadowlark he burst out laughing too. This just made Meadowlark even more unhappy. Soon he was surrounded by a whole crowd of elves and pixies, and he felt very silly. Also, being small and all his life, he had no head for heights, and he couldn't bear to look down. The ground seemed very far away. "You really are silly Meadowlark," Scrumpy shouted to his friend. "You were perfectly all right when you were small, and everyone liked you, you know." "If only I could be small again," wept Meadowlark, "but Witchy Twitchy put a magic spell on me, and I'll never be my real size again." At the mention of her name, Witchy Twitchy looked a little ashamed, and everyone looked round at her curiously. "Well," she stammered, "that foolish elf never said how big he wanted to be." But she turned very red. Scrumpy looked very stern. "Now, Witchy Twitchy," he said, "turn Meadowlark back to his own size, right now, or we'll throw you in prison for 1,000 years, chanted the other elves and pixies, who were rather enjoying the whole thing. Witchy Twitchy turned pale, and hurriedly muttered the magic spell backwards. Zoom! Meadowlark came rushing down to his tiny self, standing beside the crowd in the grass. He looked around in delight. "Oh, thank you," he cried. "I'll never want to be bigger ever again. I like it just the way I am."